What's up, Internet? In today's video, we're going over the disassembly maintenance of the Micro Reg. Alright, so to start, we're going to remove the base from the body of the regulator. And for that, you can use a pair of needle-nose pliers and insert into the slots on the base itself. Just break it loose, and a good trick is to hold the pliers steady and just rotate the regulator to unscrew it. Alright, got your base, and inside you got your base seal and retainer. Sometimes this comes out with the base itself, sometimes it stays in, but they're separated like that. The next step is remove the piston bore cap. So take a flathead screwdriver, insert into the slot, and unscrew it from the body. Alright, there you have your cap and piston inside of it. Now sometimes the piston can remain stuck in the body, so if like that it's kind of hard to get to. So what you can do is flip it over, push in on the bottom of the stem, lift up enough you can get your fingernails under the groove and lift it out. And that's as far as you need to go for basic maintenance. All we have to do now is clean the components, re-grease them, and reassemble the regulator. Starting with the piston, we're going to first remove the O-ring from the piston head. So for that, just pinch it to the side and roll it out its groove, like that. Alright, then we're just going to take a clean cloth, so you won't leave lint behind. Going to wipe down all the surfaces and the groove for the O-ring. And then just wipe off our O-ring itself. You can also wash this off with warm water and dish soap, but cloth works fine too. Alright, all good. Just gonna pop this back on the piston head. So just drop into one side of the groove and roll it around. That's all done there. Alright, for your bore cap, just gonna take clean cloth again, wipe out the inside of it. That's all done. Now for the base seal and retainer, the sealing surface is actually on the inside of the ring, so we're going to pop this out of the retainer to access that surface. So just push to the side, pop it out. Again, take clean cloth, wipe off that surface. You will see a little indentation from the tip of the piston, and that's fine as long as you're not like a scratch across it. It's still going to seal just fine. Make sure there's no debris in the retainer itself. Then reassemble. The base seal is contoured, so one end is going to be wider than the other. You want to put the wide end into the counter bore of the retainer. So the retainer has a flat side and one side of a counter bore. So it should be locked into that one. So just push it into one side, kind of snap it in. Just press it down to make sure it's locked in, and it's all good to go. For the base, we're really just wiping out the inside of it, make sure there's nothing in there. Alright, everything's cleaned up, now time to re-grease it and put it back together. For lubrication, we always recommend Tech T gun salve grease. This is specially engineered for HPA systems, so unlike silicone oil or gear grease, it'll actually stay on the system during firing. Alright, starting with the piston again, going to first lubricate the O-ring on the piston head. We're just going to put a thin yet noticeable layer of grease on the O-ring. Alright, so a good trick now is to actually insert into the bore cap, like so. Then you can just hold it by the cap and not get greasy, and lubricate the stem. So the stem, you're doing about half the stem from the tip up, basically equal sides of the through hole in the stem itself. Alright, and those are the only two components in the Micro Reg that need lubrication. We're going to take it a step further now and show you more advanced disassembly of the system and show you the rest of the internal components. Now as far as the rest of the disassembly, there's only a few components left within the body of the regulator. So we're just going to dump it out. We got spring, followed by bushing and spring cup. Then in the body itself, there's one last O-ring, and it is kind of a pain to get to, so I do recommend having an O-ring pick tool. And you're going to have to basically lock it in next to the O-ring and pop it out of this groove, but it's really tight in there, so it might take you a few tries. So you'll find it's best to pop the O-ring out and push it down in the bore, and then once it's loose in there, you can just hook it with the O-ring pick tool and pull it straight out. And there you go. Now the other O-ring is a lot easier to get to. It's on the input side of the regulator and just sitting in a counter bore. So just gonna reach in with your pick and just pop it out. Like that. And these two O-rings are the exact same size and diameter, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. And with these components removed, the system is now completely disassembled. Now let's put it back together. Alright, so we're gonna start with this O-ring here. And you're probably gonna have a few choice words for this one by the time you get it back in there, because it is kind of a pain. But it's going in the inner bore of the regulator. So for that, we're just going to tuck it down in, pop into one side of the groove, and then poke the rest of it in. So once you get in one side, Just kind of work it in the rest of the way, and it should pop into its groove. But it might take you a couple tries, so keep at it. You might have to go from the inner side too to make it drop in correctly. But you'll know once it gets in there because it'll be nice and clear down the center of the bore. Once that O-ring is finally seated into the regulator, we're going to reinstall the base seal and retainer. The first step here is to install your O-ring. So again, this O-ring just sits in the counter bore, down inside the regulator. Just kind of drop it in there and kind of poke it down with your finger to make sure it fits flush into that counter bore. Once that's in, drop in your retainer and base seal. So the retainer ring should go in first with the base seal facing up. Drop in there, might have to jiggle it around to make it sit correctly. There we go. Once that's in there, take your pliers and your base. And get it started into the threads. Again, it's easier to hold the pliers and rotate the regulator. Alright, just snug it down. Doesn't have to be super tight, just snug is good. Alright, once that's done, go to install our bushing and spring cup. So the bushing has a counter bore on one side and not on the other. So we're going to the counter bore side and just insert it like that. We're going to take it like this, hold the regulator upside down, insert it into the top. Then take a spring, drop that in. Take the piston and bore, carefully slide that through the spring, and tighten it down. Then just take your flat edge, just snug it down. And there you go. Now it's fully reassembled and ready for another 30 to 50,000 shots. As always, check out our YouTube channel for more tech videos and tutorials. And if you want to see something in particular, just comment below. See you later.